Am I the a-hole for removing tree roots from a yard? My family and I moved into a new home this spring. We had previously lived in an apartment and we now have our first yard for our kids to play in. The neighborhood we moved into has a lot of mature trees, and this is being the first time I've had to do my own lawn where there has been learning curve. One of my neighbor's yard is separated from ours by a chain link fence. There's a large tree just on their side of fence. Some roots from the trees spread into my yard and some of them are growing into the surface of the ground. They are visible and are about in the ground quite big. A month ago, my kids were playing around and my daughter tripped on one of the roots, fell, and ended up breaking her wrist trying to catch herself. Of course, this was very upsetting to my wife and I, and she pretty much told me to do something about the roots so this could not happen again. So I bought some tools and started treating the roots up as best I could. I got them out to the point that nothing is sticking above the ground anymore and filled the top with fresh soil and grass seed. My neighbor must have noticed the work that I did. My neighbor must have noticed the work I did because he made comment about the fresh soil. I told him I had to remove some roots since my daughter tripped on one. He asked what meant by remove, and I told him I dug the bunch out and cut them out the best I could. He got pissed and told me I probably killed this tree. I told him that removing a few roots isn't going to hurt a tree that's big, and they were creating tripping hazard. And since they were in my yard, I did what I needed to do to remove them. He told me there are other ways to deal with roots like that instead of cutting them out and causing stress to the tree, and he would have gladly helped if I asked. He said that tree is probably going to die, which means it is not probably going to have to be removed, and said that the tree that's large is going to cost thousands of dollars to take out. I told him that sounds ridiculous expensive. He said if the tree dies, he has to have it cut down. He's going to ask me to pay for some of it because of what I did to the roots. I told him good luck with that and that I'm not paying anything for his tree. He called me an a-hole and told me that the previous neighbors at least had the decency to ask for help when they didn't know what the hell they were doing instead of causing damage to other people's property. I told my wife about it and she thinks the guy is just being a jerk and agrees with me that taking a few roots from the top of the ground isn't going to hurt the tree that's big. She also agrees that there is no way in the hell we are going to pay for anything for this guy's tree. We were just making sure that our yard is safe for our kids to play in. It's not our fault his tree grew roots into our yard.
YTA. You should have told him what you were doing since it is his tree. Yes, even though the roots were on your side of the fence. It's the neighborly thing to do. And speaking as someone with a fair amount of experience with plants, depending on what kind of roots you hacked away, how many there were, and what you did to the open wounds before covering with dirt, there is a chance you could kill the tree. OP didn't just kill the tree, he killed any chance at a good relationship with his next door neighbor. Good luck with that. What a rude thing to say. Good luck to OP if he ever needs help with anything. The fact that OP doesn't realize hacking at some roots could kill the tree or destabilize it, and the fact that he's shocked it could cost a few $1,000s to remove the tree proves that OP shouldn't be anywhere near big boy tools. Obviously he's clueless, but instead of going out and doing a ton of damage carelessly, he could have at least done a little Googling first. Yes, it's your property, but you really should have at least talked to your neighbor first to come up with a solution. It does cost thousands of dollars to remove big trees. You had to know that ripping out roots would hurt the tree. YTA. Fun fact, in many areas, if OP's actions killed the tree, he can be held responsible for not only the cost of removing the tree, but also for the value of said tree. And mature trees can be incredibly valuable. Like tens of thousands of dollars valuable. Sorry, but YTA. You probably didn't know this, but if you damage his tree by cutting the roots, you are liable for the tree if it dies. You definitely should have spoken to him before cutting the roots. We did a ton of work in our very old property. The trees in my neighbor's property close to our boundary died, possibly as a result of the work we did. Our family lawyer advised us to pay to have the trees removed. It wasn't contentious and we are friendly with the neighbors, but it was the right thing to do. Oof. You better look up tree law for your area, bub. It wasn't your tree and you probably killed it or seriously hurt it. Maybe teach your kids to be more careful instead? I learned pretty young to watch where I'm running. YTA. YTA. How would you like it if someone hacked something of yours apart without asking first? Clearly the actions and justifications of the entitled. I hope the tree dies and you end up paying for it. ETA, by your own admission you are clueless about the tree and how to care for a yard. Why didn't you ask for help instead of charging ahead like you did know? YTA. You do realize you have also compromised the tree's stability, meaning in severe weather it has a greater risk of falling and causing damages. Arborist here, you most likely killed the tree, those surface roots are the most important. Your neighbor's estimate of the cost sounds accurate. YTA. YTA, and just know that if the tree does die, you will be held responsible for it as you were the one who destroyed it. You admitted to not knowing what you were doing. You should have asked your neighbor before you decided to destroy his tree. Your excuse as to why isn't a good one either. Kids trip and hurt themselves all the time. Are you going to take away all the toys they can trip over? How about their bikes? They can really hurt themselves on those. Better get rid of those. Hopefully your neighbor isn't so happy. YTA for admitting you know nothing, damaging a tree cause your kid fell. Like, are you going to just destroy everything that she trips over? What sense does this make? Then calling your neighbor an asshole for your bad choices. Info: how thick was the thickest root you cut, approximately? Like 1 inch or more, like 3 or 6 inches?